What if I told you Wilfred Ndidi is actually better than Thomas Partey? What if I told you Wilfred Ndidi is actually the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League? What would you do? What would you say? Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Now, Arsenal are building a massive powerhouse of a squad this summer, last summer. It is amazing the job Edu and Mikel Arteta are doing. The quality they are recruiting and the quality they are putting together is absolutely phenomenal. Actually, I'm starting to think Arsenal could dominate European football for maybe 5 years if they get this thing all right. But they have a problem. And that is what we're going to talk about in this video. Thomas Partey is playing for them as a pivot, and in that role, I think you could even argue that in players playing as a single pivot, Thomas Partey could be the best in the Premier League. However, the problem Arsenal have is that Thomas Partey cannot go 38 games in the Premier League uninjured. That is absolutely out of the picture. There are two solutions here. One, you replace him, which is quite impossible. At the moment, it is very, very hard to find a player who can stay consistent and is better than Thomas Partey. Very, very hard. The work rate of the lad is absolutely incredible. That is the word I can use. The other solution is to get a player who can back him up and also slowly groom him into a player who can be a long-term replacement to Thomas Partey. And that is what this video is all about. In this video, I've suggested 5 players that Arsenal should go for this summer as replacements of Thomas Partey, but also as long-term covers and long-term replacements of the man. So players that can back him up and provide that same level of quality for Arsenal in a single pivot, but also players that will actually replace him because he's getting older and older. He's already 28, so in the next 3 years, you do not expect him to be giving you the high levels of quality and the high levels of I think marauding the page just like he's doing right now. Hit the like button. Let's get the video to 800 likes. Subscribe the podcast as we are growing very fast to 48,000 subscribers. And of course, in the comment box below, talk to me. Join the conversation. Which player among these 5, you can also suggest one outside these 5, but which player do you think Arsenal should be bringing in to cover for Thomas Partey so that quality, when he goes to injury or he goes to, when he's rested, does not really drop. In number 5, I've gone with Ibrahim Sangaré. Now, Arsenal have not been linked with Ibrahim Sangaré before. He's a young player playing with PSV Eindhoven in the Dutch league. One thing I've loved about Ibrahim Sangaré is the amount of tackles he's winning per season. The two seasons is spent at PSV. Last campaign, he won 69 tackles. He involved himself, in 69 tackles, and he won all of them. That is massively, very, very strong. Now, if you look at his contract, runs down in 2025. He's only 24 years of age. I think he's one that Arsenal would be very interested in looking at. And his height is 1.91. Now, if you look at most of the midfielders and their heights, they could be between 1.79 and 1.83. So that means they're not as tall as Sangaré. Sangaré is quite a huge guy. Very, very tall, very, very gigantic. 1.91. That means, he allows you to win a couple of area duels in the penalty area, and also probably could use him to win you headers in the opponent's box. He's been linked with Manchester United. He's one of the players that have been linked with Manchester United. But like I've said, 24 years of age, I think he's one you would bring in. Keep him as a cover for Thomas Partey. Play him in the Europa League. Play him in the cup competitions. But then by the time he turns 27, that will be his prime. You can definitely move him into that position as your main guy in the single pivot. I think Thomas Partey, with this injury rate, you can play him until 33 or 32, 33. That is when Thomas Partey will actually stop being the main guy for Arsenal in that midfield. And Ibrahim Sangaré would be a perfect replacement Thomas Partey in the future. But for now, just bring him in. Just make him comfortable. Just tell him you're going to be backing up Thomas Partey. You'll be playing in the Europa League. You'll be playing in you'll be playing in the Premier League at times. And of course, Thomas Partey is going to be playing 25 to 28 games. That is another 10 games for Ibrahim Sangaré in the best league in the world. I don't think he would turn down that opportunity. The only problem, like I said, if you look at it here, right here, his contract runs down in 2025. So you might have a problem negotiating with PSV Eindhoven on the price. According to the transfer market website, his value is 24 million. 24 million. I think, given the fact that his contract is quite long, has 3 more years, I think Arsenal could pay around 30 to 35 million euros. That would be very good for me because it is value you're going to use across the next 7-8 years. A player who's going to replace your best player in the midfield, and a player who's actually going to give you, that kind of longevity and that kind of same quality as Thomas Partey. Very, very physical as a player, and that's one of the reasons as to why I've actually chosen him. So, Ibrahim Sangaré, give me your thoughts in the comment box. But I think Arsenal, if they decided to go for him, it would be a wonderful, wonderful signing. Number 4, Wilfred Ndidi. Now, I started this video telling you that could you believe that Wilfred Ndidi could be better than Thomas Partey? And I know many of you thought, I think many of you thought, look, he's not better than him. You cannot say that, Cossy. Now, listen to this. Wilfred Ndidi is 25 years of age, 1.83 meters tall, plays with his right foot, and his contract runs down in 2024. That is one of the things I wanted to tell you first. His contract has 2 more years left. That means that Arsenal could scoop him because away from Leicester City. I think Leicester City will not have a problem selling him this summer. My problem with Wilfred Ndidi, before we get to the advantages, he's very injury prone. That is one of the things that you do not like about him. It's one of the reasons why I don't like him. But he's one of the players I would massively love Arsenal to sign in, because if you look at these statistics from him on FBref, tackles per 90, 3.98. Best in the league. Clearances per 90, 3.4. Area balls 2.77. That is 93%. And interceptions 2.53, 91. Pressures 23.5, 86. And blocks 1.92, 79. That means that the defensive game of Wilfred Ndidi is actually absolute class. He's having better defensive statistics than any of the players I will mention on this podcast today, and is having better defensive statistics than Thomas Partey. Like I said, the problem with Wilfred Ndidi would be that he's injury prone. You literally cannot play him 38 games in a campaign. But being 25, you never know his injury. His career could become a little bit stable in the future. He's African, comes in from Nigeria, so I think he can actually cope with the physicality of the league. And at 25, you think it's gonna be. It can give you that longevity as a replacement eventually for Thomas Partey, but then also you bring in a player who is very, very reliable in terms of quality. One thing you love about him here, is the market value. His market value is actually very, very strong, 60 million euros, and that shows you the amount of quality he has. Not very many players we'll talk about in this video have 60 million euros as their market value on the transfer market website. So Wilfred Ndidi, what I thought there, I love him. I think he's absolutely very, very good. Of course, he's a very, very tall guy. He's one that is he stands at 1.83 meters tall, and that's what you see when we looked at his area battles won. He's standing at around 87%. He's absolutely phenomenal. If Arsenal can get him in, just make sure that he shares minutes with Thomas Partey and also work on that injury-prone record. In my opinion, we might not get so many players better than Wilfred Ndidi. Number 3, Douglas Luiz. Now, I thought about Douglas Luiz as one of the players that are running out of contract, next summer, so Arsenal could get him cheaply. But then I also thought about him as a Jorginho kind of player. Yeah, Jorginho. Yeah. Of course, I know what you're thinking. Cossy, Jorginho is just a guy passing around the ball, and that is what Douglas Luiz does as well. Their strength is in keeping possession and also making sure that you're having absolute total dominance. Douglas Luiz would be a very, very good player if Thomas Partey started for 60, 75 minutes, and then you bring him in for the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. His contract at Leeds United, just like I've said, is now at Aston Villa, is running down, and could be a very, very good opportunity right now to get him in at any side. Aston Villa have signed in Boubacar Kamara already, and I do not think at the moment Douglas Luiz is going to be that important for them. He's not very, very tall. He stands at 1.77 meters tall, but of course he's 24 years of age only. Market value 38 million euros, and his contract, like I said, runs down in 2023. So you have a couple of advantages here. One, you have a player who's not very, very physical, and maybe winning tackles and throwing his body on the line is not some of the best things he does. Because if we look at his strength here on FBref, I'm gonna show you that. This is what he does mainly as a player. If we look at him on FBref, this is what he does. Interceptions 74%, 2 interceptions per 90. Shot creating actions 2.4. Assists 66%, and expected number of assists stands at 58% in comparison to other midfielders. So his statistics are not that beautiful in the Premier League especially, but what you would get in him is not a very, very defensive player, and that's why I think you bring him in first and foremost to teach him that role of a single pivot. In my opinion, he can do it very, very well. But then you bring him in also to become that player who allows you total dominance. That is what he does. I think about him as a Rodrigo Bentancur at Tottenham Hotspur. Probably not very, very good defensively, but in terms of sitting in that pivot and helping you win the ball all the time, be a fullback position. A fullback guy. Whenever you go in front and you meet a dead end, you always fall back to him, and it's always going to be very good in terms of ball distribution. And if you have Martin Odegaard and Fabio Vieira ahead of him, it's going to be very key in terms of supplying those balls around the midfield, and also making sure that the wingers and all the runs from your fullbacks and wingers are well tracked. He's a very, very interesting guy. Arsenal were linked with him in, I think, January. We were linked with him. Aston Villa would be willing to sell, like I said, because they now have Boubacar Kamara. Not one that I would actually fancy Arsenal to go for, but one that is very, very interesting if Arsenal decided to go for him this summer. But the one that I would actually go for, that guy, he's called Teun Koopmeiners. Very, very difficult name. Big up to James Lawrence Alcott, because I was watching his video and he was suggesting a couple of names in terms of a defensive midfielder and things like that. And then I saw this name, Teun Koopmeiners. Now, it doesn't mean I know nothing about Teun Koopmeiners. Now, I've watched Atalanta in their international European campaign, last campaign. Teun Koopmeiners is absolutely phenomenal. He's been linked with a couple of Premier League clubs before in the past, while still playing way back at home in the Netherlands. Arsenal, Man United, and Leeds United all have been linked with Teun Koopmeiners. I think with Teun Koopmeiners, you have a lot of things. It would be the perfect midfielder for Arsenal to get in this summer as a backup to Thomas Partey, but also as a player who you think in the future is definitely going to be very, very reliable in that midfield. So if you look at what he provides you as a player there, he's 1.83 meters tall, 24 years of age, first and foremost. So his profile is quite very, very interesting, playing at Atlanta, and his contract runs down in 2025. So probably not one of those players that are going to come very, very cheaply. He won't come very cheaply like we want him to, but he's one that if he comes in, you're rest assured of quality. He's doing it for Atlanta and is absolutely doing it very, very well. So I'm going to try to show you some of his statistics on FB Rev, and you're going to be, you will actually be impressed, because it's a mixture of defensive quality and also offensive quality. Way better than Douglas Luiz and way better than all the players we've talked about. I think apart from Wilfred Ndidi, defensive wise. So these are his very strong attributes, where you see green, expected number of assists, shot creating actions, number of goals and assists expected, progressive passes, shots in total, passes attempted, progressive passes and carries, non-penalty goals, touches in the penalty area as well. So if you look at Thomas Partey and what he provides Arsenal with, he's a kind of guy that literally drives us forward, literally has that, engine, that ability to drive us forward, pick up the ball in deeper areas and then progress it and advance it, and then act as that cover for our back four. Teun Koopmeiners could be magnificent. That guy could be magnificent. Only 24 years of age at the moment. Contract running down in 2025. So probably Atlanta would ask for a fee in excess of 30 million euros. But if Arsenal brought him in, then you'll rest assured that as the likes of Martin Odegaard develop and Fabio Vieira, you have a player who's going to develop with them. And you also have a player who is very, very reliable. He did captain Wilfred Ndidi, so you think he's got those leadership skills in him. And for me, in that Arsenal side, or in a team that plays a single pivot, I would love the guy sitting in that single pivot to be my captain, because he literally looks at the rest of the midfielders, like the rest of the pitch, and is like, yeah, I'm seeing you lads. I know. So Teun Koopmeiners would be for me my choice, and he's not the last one in this video. The last one is Abdoulaye Doucouré. Abdoulaye Doucouré plays for Aston Villa. Obviously, they signed him from Watford, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Not quite very sure. And it was absolutely very, very hard, because I thought Abdoulaye Doucouré was an opportunity that Arsenal should have actually picked up. He's 29 years of age, so probably he doesn't tick the box of longevity. But one thing I love about Abdoulaye Doucouré is the bowler. He's an absolute bowler. His numbers are not very, very good. So he's not one that I would really sell to you in terms of coming next to Thomas Partey. But this is what is interesting. His contract runs down in 2023. That is next year. So if Arsenal went for him this summer, they would spend at least not more than 15 million euros or 20 million euros to get him. The question: could Everton accept the offer? You're also looking at a player who's 1.83 meters tall, so he's not very, very short for a midfielder playing as playing in a single pivot. My problem with him is when he's played for Everton, he's played alongside Allen, and he's been that guy who's playing for you in a more advanced kind of role alongside ahead actually of Allen. So can he sit in that pivot and be the strong guy for you? In my opinion, he can. He has the qualities of a very, very strong midfielder, and I don't know what you people would think about Abdoulaye Doucouré as as a player. But look at that. Pressures applied per 90, 23.27, standing at 84%. Assists is standing at 80%. Touches in the penalty area, 75. Tackles, 72. Shots in total, 67. And progress passes, 64%. So not a bad shout. Not really a bad shout when it comes to a player who comes in after Thomas Partey has played and done his work, and then just comes in to make sure that you have almost the same amount of quality around the pitch. So let me know. I've suggested 5. You could suggest more in the comment section. And do you think my shouts are actually, do they make sense? Let me know. Do they make sense?